Hello, one and all beautiful listeners. This is Johnny at Dr. Awesome, bringing you yet another CORPcast. CORPcast number 4 in the line. My co-hosts today are
Tom at Dogblade98.
The one and only Casey at Anubis God, and with us today is a special guest.
I am Duratok Gorehowl of the Duratok. Actually, it's just me, Logan. Handle Loganius. What's up?
That was
fantastic.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
you.
That was good. You did good, Logan.
It actually sort of vibrated my headphones a little bit. A bit of an ear massage.
Sorry for the tinnitus. If it makes you feel better, we're on the same page now.
Sweet.
All right. On the docket for today's wonderful CORPcast, for all you beautiful people, we're going to be talking about builds and concepts. How much do you have to sacrifice of each to make the perfect concept build? We're also going to be talking about the potential zones that are coming up. Cryptid's been hinting at something. They're making a new zone. It might be a city zone. Okay, well, they said it was a city zone, but what kind of city? I don't know. Let's talk about it. What we would like to see in the future. City zone. Okay, that topic's done. PvE challenge map. I know one of us is going to have a lot to say about that. We're also going to be covering, if you got to be any type of animal, what would you be? I have lots of opinions on this. I'm sure Tom and Casey do. Tom particularly. He's all about the zoos. And we're also going to talk about the new weekly features that came out on Champions.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be crazy. Debatably off the hook.
Off the heezy.
We should stop saying that.
I can't.
First on the CORPcast agenda, we have builds and concepts. What makes a good build and how you can implement a good build on your very hard concept character. I know a lot of people, me especially, like having a good build and hate breaking concept. When I'm talking about builds, we're talking about all types of builds. Player versus player, player versus everything in the terms of tanks, damage dealers, healers. We're even talking about dual builds if you have to have them.
Ugh, you're scum, though, if you have them.
You are scum.
Not a fan of dual builds, Casey.
No, I'm sorry. But you don't really need the double passives ever. That's going to be my first piece of advice for people when you're making your builds. You don't need to take 2 passives. You only need to take 1.
Well, you know what? There's a couple of people that have pulled off double passives pretty well.
You can do it, but that second thing is usually almost always better off spent somewhere else instead of another passive.
You know that saying, jack of all trades, master of none?
Yeah, well, if you have 2 passives, you're a jack of no trades and a master of suck.
That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, that's the thing, though. I mean, honestly, like, out of all of your attacks when you're level 40, how many of them do you use? You usually use your energy builder, and then you have, your multi-target thing, and then you have a single target.
I don't think I even use my energy builder.
Yeah, I mean, everything else is either, if you don't have passives or heals or whatever, it's just like, oh, okay, that's just a fluff power.
I'm on board with that up to a point, but for damage dealers, when I had Black Omen's build, he had like 8 attacks, and all those attacks were sort of geared towards something or other.
Well,
like,
yeah, but Black Omen's power armor, and it's designed to have multiple attacks going at the same time.
Yeah, that is a bit different.
Well, no, I'm not talking strictly. He had he had 4 power armor attacks and 4 non-power armor attacks.
That is a lot of attacks.
It is.
You get 14 powers and you're using 8?
Yeah, he wasn't that not squishy. He was pretty squishy.
That's true.
But, he shot things up pretty good, and that's what he was built for, so.
He did die in a giant space explosion, so.
Along with some other people's terrible characters.
Oh.
Yeah, but nobody cares about them. It was all about Black Omen.
Yeah, it really was, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It was just more or less, that event was just to stroke my ego. I am fine with admitting it, because I think I deserve it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Alright, getting off topic here, so I'm going to whip us back in. What are examples of concepts that are hard to build for?
Anything where your character's only power is telepathy.
Yeah.
Telepathy is not a good set.
There's other. If your character is, say, an Iceman, you're going to have to start trying to constitute dipping outside of your power pool to be somewhat good.
I would say that. I mean, the Avalanche, holy crap.
Yeah.
I can kill anything in 2 seconds with Avalanche.
Avalanche.
I can kill
good.
dozens of them at the same time in 2 seconds with Avalanche. And I don't even have dexterity on it.
But are you using Ice Form and just all the ice passives and all? And you have to dip out of that set. That set's just not good enough to stand
I
alone.
use purely that. I got the actually I got the Lightning Storm thing, but that's just for looks. I mean, it deals less
So
damage.
you did go out of the set.
Yeah, so you lied to us, is what you're saying.
Jeez.
Okay, I lied. I'm sorry.
I think what Johnny is trying to get at, though, is no matter what your concept is, unless you're an archetype and you can't, you need to be willing to make sacrifices for survivability, usability, to go out of... If you're like, my character's only powers are ice, so I'm not going to take Unbreakable. Like, well, Unbreakable is almost a null graphic anyway. It's not going to matter.
Right, most utilities are null graphics, though. Most of the things like active defenses, you got Masterful Dodge, Unbreakable, Field Surge, you can explain those in an in-concept way pretty easily. Like, very easily.
But can you explain the effects of them? Some people can't get past that, saying, okay, well, your character is really squishy, but all of a sudden he uses Unbreakable and he's unharmable. Well, how do you explain that?
Well,
For some characters, it's just hard. I mean, for an ice character, you could say he builds in a thin...
It's okay, I'm just a minor celebrity. You don't have to get embarrassed or flustered around me. You know, it's completely understandable and completely natural.
I'm going to end you. So sometimes you get these concepts. Ice concept will probably have very little problem making Unbreakable, as some sort of ice sheath power. Like, they cover themselves in a little bit more layer of ice, hard to break, takes you time to work through it. That all makes sense. But when you're trying to say, okay, well, this ice person gets a bubble around them and force shield or something like that, then it kind of gets a little bit off for some players. I particularly would be like, what? Your character doesn't have that and whatever. And I can be stingy at times. Of course, I'm going to be one of the first to admit. But it's just small things like that some people have problems with.
well, I would say, like, for Field Surge, Field Surge isn't a very good active defense, so I wouldn't take it anyway. B,
Well,
you could make that be like a bubble of ice or something. You're making a sphere of ice around you, if you color it correctly.
Easy.
Again, that's with one very specific example. If you're like a martial artist and you have Force Bubble, I don't know, it's your chi. It's your chakras or whatever that you're shielding yourself with. It's something.
It's the chakras with the third eyes and the bobbles and the
Exactly.
nice coats.
Is that what it sounds like when an Englishman's doing Bill Cosby?
He's not even English.
He's
Well, I
Canadian,
don't know what
actually.
you are. You are not from here. That's all I need to know. America.
You just explain.
Again, this is my opinion, but in an RP situation, if you're going to be RP fighting, your utility powers almost never come up anyway. Because it's almost like they're not really part of your character, they're only there to help you in PvE.
Well, that
So-
comes with some standards. I mean, I would say, personally, if you are all shiny and sparkly with Invuln, I'm considering you a pretty tough guy. You're not going to be...
Well, no, I guess passives are the exception. But like when I'm RPing on Asylum, I have Unbreakable and Masterful Dodge, but I don't use either of them in an RP fight, even though they're on her power tray.
That's because, well, I mean, again, this is my opinion. For the majority part, your actual in-game powers don't necessarily represent your character's in-character capabilities.
Well, you can say that all well and fine, but we're playing a game where you have to build your character to be the character that it is. And that goes without... I mean, it goes to an extreme that some people do in other MMOs that, okay, well, how strong are you? Oh, you have this much strength, so you would win the fight and stuff like that. But that doesn't happen in Champions strictly because it's based on a game where it doesn't have those stats. It has traits and perks and stuff like that. Well, at least in my mind.
That's True, and I don't think that I would say that your character's build shouldn't have anything that's representative of what your character should do. You should still build for what your concept is, but you need to be able to fudge it a little bit. Like, if I'm building a character that is radiation-based, I mean, I could go with fire, color it green. I could go infernal, color that green. But I still need to be able to take stuff like heals because those two sets don't have any. Mm-hmm. So you still need to be able to bridge out a bit.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of the powers are very flexible. Like, ego sprites. It's really easy to, say ego sprites instead of being some telekinetic or telepathic thing. You can say it's magic, or it's like, oh, I'm shooting, souls at you and they're going to devour you or whatever. You can do whatever you want for a lot of things.
Shooting small Pac-Man souls who come to eat the dots of your life.
Exactly.
The only sets terribly powerful power.
The only sets that are kind of hard to work around are the technology sets, since they all have a very visible graphic. So like power armor, munitions, archery, and gadgeteering are all... You need to be within that sort of concept for those to work. And even some of the magic stuff is a little hard if it shows a lot of runes and sigils. But for the most part, everything else is pretty good.
Okay, yeah, an example, I have a friend, the character's name is Lightwave. What's up, Vincer? I hope that's how you say your name. Basically, the theme is, she can manipulate sound and light, and, she creates these hard light projections, and for that she uses a lot of force, and, it actually managed to make it work out pretty well, because, force has a reputation. It has a reputation for not being great.
We're having one good power, and that's called Force Cascade?
Pretty much.
Agreed.
I've seen her fight, and she kicks ass. It's pretty good. I mean, but again, granted, it's PvE, and it's hard not to kick ass at that most of the time.
Well, we have to agree. There's different levels of kicking ass in PvE. We're talking about like the people that can mostly solo every legendary boss.
Yeah.
Save for a couple ones at level 40, which are more gimmick bosses, like Lemurian sorcery. That guy.
Bickering?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I want his pants. That sounded bad. I meant I want to wear his pants. That sounds worse.
You can't salvage this. Just
gay sex.
That didn't help.
It's not helping the rumors at work.
Okay.
No.
So that brings us to the point, how far do you go to get a good build? How much concept do you sacrifice? There's a lot of hard-nosed type people that won't sacrifice absolutely nothing for their build, I should say. And that makes total sense. There's also the other extreme, which there's people with the best builds, but their characters just don't quite match up.
I would say, from my personal experience, that when you're making your concept and you're trying to get it over into a build, focus on getting the biggest parts of your build, the most inherent parts of your build, into your attacks and your passive. To anything that's going to be offensive. So an active offense, your energy builder, your attacks, your passive, if you're going to have any pets or anything, put it all there. And then worry less about it when you're switching to your utility powers.
Heals and active defenses.
Heals, active defenses.
I think that's a pretty good way to go. If you say your person's a martial artist and it's like an unarmed monk, they're using dual swords or whatever, I mean, I guess that can be played off as well, but just having those unarmed attacks would probably go a long way to saving your concept, and those utilities would probably go a long way to making your actual powers that you use for attacking, the visible powers you use, much better.
Right. I've never, with all the characters I've played and leveled, I've never had a character I've never come across a concept, personally, that I couldn't make good. I might not necessarily like the visuals of the attacks I'm taking, like, I have a character who's supposed to be Sonic. I don't love the fact that I have to use Force, but as a build, it's workable. It's not necessarily the best build, but it's good you can PvE in it, you can survive, I can beat enemies, it's fine. It's a good build. You don't have to sacrifice your concept to have a good build. I've never seen a concept that couldn't be made to have a decent build.
Yeah, the problem is you also need to make sure that when you're coming up with your concepts, make sure that it's doable in the game.
Yeah.
Like, if your concept is that your character is a metamorph, they can shapeshift into things, you're gonna have to do that almost... Yeah, you're gonna have to do that almost all with your costume, because you can't do it with your powers.
Well, you know what? That brings up a thought in my head. There's somebody I knew. I think his name was Meta Boy. Can't remember the character's handle, but he did that fairly well. He was a might character, and he couldn't really switch his builds too much. As in, like, he didn't have dual passives or anything. But his costume changes and all that seemed to work out for his character.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to do something like that, doing the costume changes and then picking might or unarmed or whatever is a very good way to sort of get that point across.
Next on our docket here is we're going to be talking with our resident Logan about potential zones, what we would like to see in the near future, and of course, I'm going to regret saying this, the player versus everything challenge map.
Why would you regret such a beautiful, beautiful thing? It's going to be glorious.
I'm just giving you a blank check to never shut up.
Oh, that's wonderful.
He's giving you a blank check to be him.
Yes.
You know, I don't like being associated to the Logan in that fashion at all.
Oh.
Very much.
That hurts a little bit. I'm over it now.
Okay, but
all right.
So they've just talked about wanting to do a new zone this year.
Next year.
Next
yeah.
Year?
No,
okay.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time for this year, no. Maybe
we're starting it this year. Yeah. Pre-production this year. And they mentioned that they were looking at making a city.
Hudson City.
No.
Jeez. No.
I know that everybody's going to want Hudson City, but...
They don't understand what Hudson City is about. And I'm going to explain it, because I'm very against Hudson City.
Yeah, well, you know what? I made a character for Hudson City. I'm waiting.
Oh, then we should definitely make it. He made a character for Hudson City.
No,
guys,
okay.
We are being very selfish. We are being very selfish. Okay.
Tom and I made characters for Tokyo. It should be Tokyo. We have 2 characters.
We do.
No, we're going to make Turok. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make
That's
Duratok.
true. You are famous, but you have a bit more weight in this than we do.
Please. Flatter me some more. Go.
I will.
I'm not going to.
I am bowing out of that.
No, okay. Hudson City. Right. The reason they shouldn't do Hudson City, Dark Champions is basically its own separate thing. It exists within the Champions universe, but in the same way that Gotham and Metropolis don't really mix, Hudson City doesn't have any superpowers. The only thing that you could say is superpowers is there are some supernatural things going on in Hudson City. That's it. There are no superhumans. There's no... Say Blue Bruiser, your character Johnny, goes to Hudson City. He would just wipe the floor with everyone.
No, he wouldn't.
They're talking about this next zone as being, high level, like possibly a level cap, and I don't want a place where it's like, gangsters and thugs. Right. They would not be more challenging to me than giant robots and space aliens.
To me, it's not even about the challenge, though. It's just the fact Hudson City doesn't fit in the world that Cryptic have portrayed.
But that's the thing. I mean, by making Hudson City, they appeal to another crowd. I mean, Millennium City is all well and fine, but it's not that nitty-gritty dark type that a lot of role players want and crave. And there's a lot of role players that want and crave that type of stuff. If I borrow it, it's just not cutting it. It's too magic-y.
The thing is, though, they could easily just take another city.
Yeah.
Instead of doing Hudson. They could... I know a lot of people are saying that they want it to be Tokyo, which, again, would not be dark and gritty, but I would like Tokyo. That would be cool.
It could be darker and grittier, though. I mean, like nighttime Tokyo. Come on. It's neon lights everywhere. It's dark. It's kind of gritty.
Kind of like a Deus Ex sort of dark.
Yeah.
Yakuza, pretty scary.
Well, okay, I guess we got like really dark, as in the Gothic realm.
As in not rated
pretty much
T
as dark as it
anymore.
gets.
Yeah.
But
We got to the crazy mom wanting to stab her daughter, so that's...
Yeah.
I think that's about as creepy as we can get, Cryptic. So we need to go for Batman. Batman had it all. We need a Gotham City. I don't care if it's not Hudson. If they Gotham up like London.
Well, they own the rights. Honestly, they own the rights. To
They
all
do.
This, so if they want to, they could add super villains and stuff to Hudson City.
Yeah.
So they are.
Which
That
is
is within the right. But
Which is kind of what they
still-
did with Vivora.
Yeah, but I
Because
still
Vivora
don't...
wasn't supernatural to begin with.
Really?
Nope.
All the gangs were street gangs. They weren't like vampires
The
or werewolves or
closest-
anything.
The closest gang that's actually how it is in the game is the Sovereign Sons, and that's only because they were a voodoo-themed gang.
I don't think the Trade Kings were even in the books.
No, they weren't. The Trade Kings weren't. Were they New Shadows? I'm not sure if the New Shadows...
Yeah, the New Shadows were, but they weren't a vampire gang.
No, and the dogs weren't vampires.
Dogs were just like a biker gang.
Well, they weren't vampires anyway. They weren't werewolves.
Yeah. But I know what Logan really wants. He really wants a moon zone.
The Moon Zone. That's whenever you read that in the forums. That's how you have to say it. By the way.
Are you putting down like a law down?
edict?
Are you throwing down an edict here?
Pretty much. Now and forever. So as it is spoken, so shall it be done. But
all right. So okay,
Right,
moon
moon
zone. What would be the polling factor of a moon zone for a lot of people?
Well, I mean, it caters to people are tired of magic, and if there's a place where you're going to see a lot of technology and absolutely no magic, it'd be the Moon Zone. And there's a lot of characters that have a lot of people out there that have characters that are aliens, and this would be a great place for them. And people have been dying for Mechanon. Mechanon has his base on the moon. Form Malvanum, that's has a big draw. Particularly for me. Destroyer, he has a, asteroid belt near there. They could probably fudge it so it's on the moon.
An asteroid belt on the moon.
Yes. I don't know. Well, I mean,
Revenger.
I feel like he has. Oh, Revenger. Yeah. There's just a lot of villains, but a lot of alien potential.
The Selenites.
Selenites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're
We could
going to
get-
be.
We get some cool
Underground.
costumes out of those.
Oh,
let
for
me tell
sure.
You.
Now, I feel kind of weird saying this because I play a Malvern. I love the Malverns, the Malvanum. I don't think the moon should be a full zone. What I think it should be is I think the moon should be a hub. I think it should be a hub for lairs and instances. So the Forum Malvanum is a lair.
Isn't that kind of the definition of a zone? It's like, it's not a zone, it's just a large area where you go to get quests.
I kind of see what he means. He's like some sort of meeting area, like you could be on the
Like you could meet on Gateway.
base.
So you're on Serenity, and then you go from Serenity to the Malvanum or Revenger's base or the Selenite Hive or whatever it's called. Just because I think the moon wouldn't work as a zone in itself, just because
it's boring. It's the moon.
Exactly.
I see what you mean, though. It's like you're on Serenity, and then you go from Serenity to different locations. You can see the moon from outside. Like
maybe
the
there's a bit you
domes
can
or
go
whatever.
outside. Like, maybe it's a small kind of zone.
You know what? I can understand that. Yeah, that could make sense because even though I do believe they would be able to make the moon very interesting, they could make the moon base very intricate, a bunch of different bubble cities. I'm sure the exterior of the Forum Malvanum would be amazing. But
can't see it though. It's completely invisible.
Again, that could change. It could change in the crisis for it.
Yes, that's
maybe
true.
because the Hizil are thinking about attacking Earth, and what if they started attacking? You get in a pod craft thing, and you're fighting them, and you get shot down. You get captured by the Malvans to fight in the arena. While that's fighting on, Mechanon knows about the Forum Malvanum. What if what if he attacks?
I just need to raise my hand on this because there's probably a lot of listeners that have no idea what the Hizil are, what Malvans are. So if we just get a quick explanation on that.
Okay. Hizil, they're kind of like goblins in space.
Yeah.
Scrolls.
They're not
Yeah.
quite like Skrulls. The Roinesh are more like Skrulls.
Yeah.
Just throwing
For everybody,
the Malvins.
for everybody that's listening, in the future, we will do a lorecast all about aliens, and we will explain more then. For right now, it's just a little brief thing. Like Logan said, the Zeal are little bluish, sort of goblin dudes, and the Malvins are hedonism
Sexy aliens. They're
They're
sexy
space
aliens.
Romans.
They're space Romans. They're hedonists, and they have the most advanced technology in the everything, just ever. It's so high tech that it's practically magic.
So I guess if you hate magic, the Malvins aren't your thing.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not. It is still technology, but I mean.
Yeah, because you have to press a button instead of
Cast a
throw
spell.
some dust or stuff. Totally different.
But I think the Forum Malvanum would almost be better served not as a quest location, but as the hub for the PvE challenges.
Oh,
which
that'd be
should
awesome.
be.
Though. It should be. No, honestly, I mean, I can't think of a more appropriate place for
Seriously.
a PvE challenge map. I mean, waves, endless waves,
Ultra
increasingly
Falcons,
difficult.
Ultra Falcons everywhere.
Space monkeys. No, just like gladiators and giant, alien creatures and robots, battle droids, all that. I mean, there's really no limit to the kinds of characters you can, put in there. You can have the brainwashed superheroes that they keep capturing. You could fight against them.
Yeah. Actually, the funny thing is, I think the thing I would be most looking forward to if they put the Forum Malvanum is whoever gets the honor of voicing Tatacles. I can't pronounce his name, I'm sorry. The
fashionable one.
The fashionable one, the leader of the guy in charge of the Forum Malvanum. I just want to know who's going to voice him. It'd be fantastic.
I hope it's a Logan.
I can
hope
do
it's you, Tom.
hedonism bot, I might, but then he doesn't strike me as that. He's not your typical Malvin. He has, drive.
He's one of the Malvins who actually isn't lazy.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that you can do on the moon. Like we said, we have Mechanon, the Seal Knights, the Forum Malvanum, Revenger, Destroyer.
Yeah,
all
I
tech.
gotta. Yeah, it's all tech. There's a lot to do there, but I can agree that getting from place to place could be a bit plain. A lot of people before were suggesting it be an adventure pack. I'm against that because it's like one story. I'd like to be able to hang out, but I do like this idea of it being a hub where it's maybe the size of the Africa zone for Serpent Lantern. About
That'd
that
be cool.
size, maybe a little bit bigger. A lot of places to hang out in. RP in. But yeah, you basically you teleport or whatever to the really, really interesting places that do exist on the moon.
Right.
Alright, on that, we've already listed out a bunch of proponents for the moon. But what about cities? I mean, if they're going to add a city, I guess they could bust up Hudson. I prefer they do, because I think Dark Champions is stupid if they had it in superheroes and Dark Evil Suit. Whatever. What are the proponents of having another city? Because we got to talk to that. Because there's definitely a lot of that.
Like Casey said, Tokyo is definitely a possibility. I would be okay with that, depending on how they did it. There's potential for lots of giant monsters, because monsters from Monster Island escape and attack Tokyo occasionally.
Yeah.
Which would be very cool. Also, it could potentially be a very, very high-tech looking city, because bits of it have been demolished a few times. That's up to them. From what I've read, though, they're not super keen on making it something that it's not described as being in the books.
Oh. That was me. I'm just so mad at this.
Crazy you.
Cities.
Oh, jeez. All right, back to cities. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Tokyo, I think would be cool. I would be fine with Tokyo. Other cities, London. There's a lot going on in London in Champions Law.
I think if they're going to do a city, they should do something in Europe, because Eurostar.
Eurostar, yes.
Which
Eurostar
everybody's
would be
thinking of.
good.
I would be fine. Madrid would be a pretty cool city at night.
If you want a dark city, I always liked Prague as being like sort of a dark, gritty city, which is what it's used for most of the time, even if it actually isn't.
Yeah.
I'm actually unfamiliar though. What, like, you know, they said they would rather have something that is already in lore, you know, established. And what's going on in Prague and Champions?
I have no clue.
Wait,
Not
Prague?
really anything.
No, I don't, off the top of my head, remember anything specific about Prague. Europe, you've got Eurostar, there's a lot of... Viper, there's a lot of Viper going on in Europe. Actually, well, no, there's not actually any Viper going on in Europe.
Exactly.
They've all been kicked out by Eurostar.
Yeah.
What they could do is they could, in part of the quest thing, they're dealing with Viper trying to get back in to Europe.
I'd be okay with that. There's a lot of supervillains. I can't. There's a really interesting German superhero called Zeitgeist who is actually basically going crazy because he's time control. He's a time controller, but his powers are going off the hook because of Captain Kronos messing things up for him. There you go,
Sounds
Johnny.
like Black Omen.
Yeah, there you go, Johnny. You got some time travel. You'd love that, wouldn't you?
Well, Black Omen's dead. I'm looking for other
Don't
ventures.
make me
I'm thinking
time
about.
travel.
I'm thinking about like the power to control cats, like house cats.
Like an old lady.
Her name will be
Like-
Masterful Betty, and her army of house cats will devour your dead body.
You can't call her Master Betty. That's already taken.
The problem is, I think, with Europe, is obviously the focus is going to be on Eurostar, and that sort of strikes me as something that would be better as an adventure pack or a comic series.
I think I agree with that. Or, I would love to see Eurostar as a lair, because there's a lot of
That's
members, and honestly, last boss, Fiacho, sitting on his chair with his crazy brain head, I'd be okay with that.
I'm going to bring up a point. In Millennium City, you think, okay, Millennium City's been destroyed. When it was originally made, and you're reading a lore book, you'd be, oh, that city's just going to be all about Destroyer. Well, is it? A piece of it is, but not really. I would say Eurostar would be the same situation.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot going on in Europe, but at the same time, there's a lot of mystical stuff going on in Europe. Look, I think if you're doing a sea, there's no escaping the fact that there's going to be some mystical stuff.
Yeah, like even Millennium City has Demon and the Red Banner.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Tech villains, you got Warlord. You could always...
Warlord, yeah.
Another one would be interesting to be China, although I don't know how you could do that without offending someone. I mean, come on, Communist China, Tiger Squad, it's a little bit... That'd be interesting.
Well, they are perfect world entertainment.
And also, though, I don't
Korean.
think in Champions lore, China isn't painted in the most wonderful of light.
Tiger Squad are actually more often villains than they are heroes.
Yeah, I hear them compared to being terrorists and stuff, so...
It'd be interesting, though, if they did make China, and they made it, they totally turned the lore on its head, where, the Tiger Squad, they were like, they were like the champions.
I think they should, because Tiger Squad was sort of written back in, let's destroy Nepal days.
No, they're still like that. I don't mean, they're not villains, but they do clash with American heroes on occasion.
I think, though, if they took China and they painted it in a more positive light.
Yeah, which isn't difficult to do. I mean, it's not, in the most recent editions, it isn't painted as being, super evil. It's not. So there'd be no problem with that. And a Chinese city could potentially be pretty dark. It'd be gritty. Yeah. Again, you could have that sort of Deus Ex kind of dark.
Yeah. Hangsha or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Russia, I know there's stuff going on in Russia.
Lyra's a grad.
If we get Russia, it would basically, they would get the Canada zone and then they just flip it over. And they'd be like, yes, good.
They get the Canada zone, they cut the parts that are specific to Canada out, and they replace it with, I don't know,
Three bear men.
Hammers and sickles.
Even though
bears on unicycles.
Even though Russia's not communist anymore. Although they could do something with Red Winter, if they did Russia.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
We know they're going to make a new appearance. They're going to be in one of the villain alerts.
Villain alerts, yeah. It's already been... You are late to the game, Logan.
But if they did do a zone in Europe, Red Winter could easily make an appearance there in a side mission or whatever. So, I mean...
Yeah, I'm with that. If they had... I'm going to say Hudson or Madrid. I think Madrid would be a pretty cool city to be a superhero in.
London or Tokyo for me. I think that's my city zones. London or Tokyo, or maybe not Tokyo. Some kind of Japanese city though.
No, we're not talking. We're talking zones you want.
Yeah, I know. That's what I say. Well, if we're talking city zones, London, I like London.
I'm saying there's no city. So you're saying you don't want the moon? Because that's what you're saying.
No, well, I already said what I think about the moon.
Yeah, and I'm saying at the very end of all of this, what would you want the most? A city zone or the moon?
I'd probably want city zone, and kills me to say it. I love the moon. Come on.
It doesn't kill you at all.
It does. I have a character who's obviously
We'll fight you.
very strong ties to the moon.
All right, Casey. What about you? Pick.
I want either the fairy or Babylon, but nobody in the entire game will agree with me because they're both magic.
I'd change mine to one of those. If it was I would change mine to one of those.
No, okay, their opinions don't count. Comes all down to you, Logan. What zone?
Although Babylon would be interesting, I don't want to see Tumor Boy hang himself, because he'd have to, do that.
Like Clockwork City.
Well, no, it's in everything that's ever existed.
Oh, no, I know, but you'd have to do it as one specific part. Like, I'm saying, a Clockwork City would probably be the most unique-looking sort of thing you could get across.
Yeah, okay.
But, I agree with you on that. It's
you're just in a part of Babylon. You couldn't be in all of Babylon.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see in the distance, to see the other places. But, yeah, you guys know where I stay. Moon Zone. I can understand, though, if it's not a zone, if it's a hub. As long as that hub lets me go to certain locations just to hang out in the form of Malvanum.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I would love to RP and, Mos Eisley, Cantina, Jabba's, lair kind of.
I want to hit on the Malvanum space babes. Come on. Exactly.
You would have to do a lot to get their attention.
If I had to pick between cities and moon, I would probably go with the moon. Because the game's already got 2 cities in it.
Alright, so all I've heard from you guys is Gritty City, Gritty City, Gritty City. I'm saying Gritty City, so Cryptic, get on Gritty City. Next topic. Now we're jumping on a little point here I mentioned earlier, the player versus everything challenge map. Wait a second, I thought I said this before, and then I said I'm going to regret saying this.
You did.
At the very start.
You did, and you're already regretting it now.
We segued back into zones, I believe.
Okay.
I'm thinking, though, for the PvE challenge maps, should there be any, hero types, any named gladiators, like Talon, the Xenovore. Oh my god, I would love some Xenovore
throwing my hat
unlocks
in this right now. Vanguard. He didn't die by a meteor. He was transported suddenly before he destroyed the meteor and was put in the form of Malvanum.
Oh my god.
Wouldn't that be great, though? You get to fight the Vanguard! And then you'd have to do, a side mission or something to save Vanguard. And then he'd be like, oh, I'm brainwashed. And, oh, you must die, Dr. Destroyer. Because he thinks everybody's Dr. Destroyer.
You know what's going to happen? A cryptic assassin is going to come and kill you now, because you're onto them.
You know what? I'm fine with that. If they do that, I'm glad with dying. That they're doing something I want them to do. Actually, I'm not very glad of dying.
Yeah, you should take that back before they do that.
Take that back.
No, they feel okay about it now.
Yeah.
They'll take you back.
You've essentially given them permission to murder you, and that's... Jeez, guy. Jeez. The thing is, if we do the Vanguard thing, then it wouldn't really be a PvE challenge map. That sounds more like it would be, a mission arc in itself. Because with a PvE challenge, it's basically you fight endless waves of guys until you die.
So and then, would it be like... I wonder if they're doing it like you fight 5 waves of dudes, you fight a boss, you fight 5 waves of dudes, you fight a boss. Or if it's just going to be just constant waves of dudes.
There's probably going to be breaks in between.
Because what I'm saying is, if it's just constant waves of dudes, I can live forever by keeping dodge up and just hitting Sword Cyclone. Yeah. I can live forever.
Yeah.
So, there's got to be something that keeps me from doing
if there's
that.
5 bosses, and the very last boss is a mind-controlled Vanguard. And
just sort of in there?
In lore, anybody who's fighting Vanguard would immediately be torn a bit, to pieces. He's Vanguard. He's, the best, ever.
I do want to...
I don't know, he got killed by a meteorite. Not so tough.
Yeah, a meteorite that was large enough to smash the entire Earth to pieces.
Yeah, well...
Not so tough.
Your mother.
You're just sad that Duratok won't be considered strong anymore next to Vanguard.
No, I can totally bow out with Duratok. Like, I mean, he's a badass and all, but he's not, you know...
I think Duratok.
He's no Talon.
Enemy.
Oh, please. He would destroy Talon.
Come on, Talon is badass.
No, you
No,
would
he
destroy
is.
Talon.
He would destroy
He
Talon.
probably would. And Xenovors are cool, though. Come on, I want Xenovors.
Xenovors are cool.
Xenovors.
He would destroy that.
I want one of the boss waves to be Duratok.
Yeah, I would actually like that. I actually think that's a good idea.
Although it wouldn't explain how I would be.
Time travel.
Time travel. Okay.
You can't even
Malvin
explain
cloning.
how everybody can summon you for a fight.
Oh, right.
Malvin cloning techniques have cloned Duratok a bunch, and then they sell him to people as a novelty backup
That
fighter.
actually seems like something they would do as well.
Exactly, because he was a famous gladiator, and now they're trying to build their reputation as a store for clones.
He's a fad. He's like, oh yeah, come get the new Duratok. Yeah.
Duratoks are in now.
They won't be
Sure.
sure though.
No, they
No,
won't.
tomorrow it'll be dead traumas.
I already have my Dead Trauma plushie.
It's the real dead trauma.
I like putting him under my floor before I go to sleep. Because that's where he died. He died under a floor.
Oh. That's true.
You made me sad now.
I don't know if we really covered anything about the PvE challenge maps in there.
Basically,
There's
we want Xenovors. Get Xenovors in there.
Okay.
gonna be you're gonna
Xenovors,
fight dudes.
Xenovors and Ultra Falcons.
Yeah, you're gonna fight dudes and cool stuff's gonna happen.
In the
Yeah,
mountain.
do you think? All right, here's something that we haven't covered. Do you think there should be something that would have its own costume unlocks?
Yes.
That would have its own titles.
Yes.
If we didn't already have so many tokens, I'd almost say it should have its own token system. More like Until tokens, though, than like a claim or something.
No, I think it should be closer to a claim. If it's going to be like a challenge map, maybe you get a claim per kill or something. That's what I would like.
I want new stuff.
You want new costume pieces?
He wants new stuff.
I want new stuff. I mean,
No,
like
I
new
think-
tokens.
I think if it's
You
going
get
to be
PvE
a
challenge
thing,
map tokens.
fine. If it's going to be a thing, though, it needs to have its own titles and its own costume unlocks.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything
Definitely.
needs to have that.
Look,
They
especially if there's going to be, if it's in the Forum Alvanum and you've got all these unique aliens, there's just so many costume pieces you could do.
You're harvesting
Oh, yeah.
their pieces off their bodies after you kill them.
Exactly.
It's like you're playing Spore.
It's exactly like Spore, actually.
I
Except
know.
you don't dance at them. You don't get the
That's
chance
true.
to dance at them or fight them. You just have
That's
to fight
what I want in the PvE challenge maps.
them.
Dance-offs.
Dancing.
Dance-offs. Oh my god. Yep,
Yeah.
that's the PV. The challenge is never stop dancing.
You have to use your
Yeah.
arrow keys to play DDR, and your character does the animations and stuff.
That would be amazing.
I would kind of like actually. Have you guys played the first Fable?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know that the big arena fight. You know, the better that you do, the less damage you take. You know, you actually get this meter that keeps going up. That's basically it's how jazzed the crowd is for you and how
That
you're
would
doing.
be very
That
cool
would actually
mechanic.
be very cool, yeah.
You know what? It would be easy to implement because of the new PvP map, King of the Hill, sort of has a feature like that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
And we
And
can
after
talk about
looking
that
at
later.
that, yeah, and after looking at that map, you know, it's like, wow, they put a lot of work into that, and you know, I hope they put, like, I'd say about twice, the amount of work that they put into the Forum Alvanum.
Yeah.
You might be a little biased.
You are.
I know I'm
you're
totally
biased.
biased. I am totally biased, but I just see the Forum Alvanum as being a bigger thing.
No, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, you know, giant alien gladiator arena is probably bigger than, a graveyard.
Covering the most important topic of the day, a topic that everybody has been listening to all this drudge for. If you were an animal, what animal would you be? Tom!
Okay, this is a tough question. I'm not gonna lie, and I've thought very, very long and hard about it. I'd be an armadillo.
Why? Why would you
That
be
was
an
a very
armadillo?
quick answer for you thinking long and hard about it.
Right, come on. Okay. For one thing, you look like a cannonball when you roll up. That's point one.
You look
Point
like
two,
Samus.
you practically are a cannonball. If I was an armadillo, I would let people put me into a cannon and fire me at the people I hate.
At your enemies?
At my enemies.
Armadillo enemies?
Okay, listen to this. So, you're an armadillo. You are in, say, I don't know, South Africa. Or, no, South America, sorry.
Okay.
And you roll up into a ball.
Mhm.
And a bunch of school children come by, and they love soccer. Your life sucks.
Right, okay.
No, dude,
okay.
but you're an armadillo. You're super tough.
Right, there's that. But also, armadillos have really, really big claws. They have massive claws, okay? Like, they're stupidly big. I don't really know why they're so big. But, so some kid walks up to me. He thinks he's gonna have a fun kick around. No, I tear him. I tear his legs off.
So then the kid's parents come and shoot you. I really don't see any plus in being an armadillo.
Then
Anyways,
he rolls away.
Yeah, I'm like,
you can't roll away
I
from
don't
bullets.
put on my armadillo shades and walk away from the boy explosion.
Okay.
Is this how armadillos work?
I
Do
think
we
so.
know this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everything I've just said is scientifically accurate.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
I'll
guess it
stop
would make
questioning you
sense.
on it then.
Yeah, you know what? I can see that. Anyways, if you were an animal, what kind of animal would you be and why? Casey.
I've also thought long and hard about this topic, and I would probably be a goose. Because geese are fucking angry animals,
Oh,
and
God.
they hate people, and they will
Testify.
chase people down and peck them to pieces for
Testify, man.
getting anywhere near them.
Geese are evil. They are.
Geese-
Geese are fucking evil.
They're
It would
not-
be that
they're
or a
not good.
platypus, because a platypus is hilariously weird.
And it's so crazy poisonous, apparently. Like, it
Yeah,
has a
they're like-
barb underneath its flippers that, like, if it stings you with it, your hand will just feel like it's on fire, and it'll just be like that for, like, a year.
Yeah,
You know,
I'd
it- like, it- Okay.
because the goose will fuck you up, and it doesn't care how big you are. It'll take you down.
You know what? If the goose doesn't think it can take you, it's just going to get your buddies, fly in a V over you, and bombard you with poop.
Dude,
And then
And you
bombard
know what?
you with geese
You know what the
meat.
worst thing about geese is? And trust me, I'm from Canada. We have geese everywhere. Geese ruin the lakes with geese poop. It's terrible. It actually happens. Oh,
I will
Anyways.
poop in all of your lakes.
Please
And I
don't. I
will put
want
on
to
my
swim.
I will put on my goose shades and walk away from the poop explosion.
That has been used already. You get -5 points for that.
Pretty
All
much.
right,
Peck
next
your
up.
eyes out.
Try it, goose. Next up, if you were an animal, what animal would you be and why? Logan.
Orangutan, but as long as I was in a zoo.
Do you want to be a captive?
Well, a nice zoo like the San Diego Zoo, because I think it'd be great to be able to do whatever you want, but you can get away with it because they're like, oh well, he's an animal, like you go up to some people and it's just you're having an orangutan erection and you just like you just kind of like you just prostrate in front of a bunch of people and
You want to be a star of a lot of YouTube videos, is what you're saying.
basically, yeah, it'd be hilarious. If there's a day it's like, hey, I want to pee in my own face today, and you can do that because orangutans do that all the time.
It sounds like you want to be a human.
Yeah,
with natural facility.
You could be this scuzzy, dirty person as you are right now. This sounds like something I would watch on YouTube. Let's watch Logan
Basically,
pee on his own
be
face.
you'd be a YouTube sensation.
You get on Tosh.0 every night.
Or am I thinking? I might be thinking of chimpanzees.
No, what a chimpanzee will do is it will take a random baby chimp and just fucking eat the shit out of it. And nobody has any idea why. Like, what? Why?
No, chimps are pretty evil animals. That's why, orangutans, they just seem like they have fun, honestly. Whenever I go to the zoo, they just roll in circles. And that's just their only mode of transportation is they roll in circles.
Their arms are so big when they walk, they trip over their own arms.
Yeah, no, they just do somersaults everywhere. It's like, it's like even there's this one, he was mad at the other orangutan for getting too close or whatever, so he angrily somersaulted at the other orangutan. It was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It was awesome.
I think you've enjoyed too many hours at the zoo as a full-grown man.
Oh, there's no such thing.
All right. And lastly, but not least, if I was an animal, what kind of animal would I be?
You'd be a duck.
Is it a dog?
You'd be a duck.
You really killed the suspense. Yes, I would be a duck.
He's a goose.
But I wouldn't be any duck. I wouldn't be any duck!
Wow, jeez.
I would be the largest duck. And I would have the beautifulest wingspan. I would be a black duck, and I would have a mallard head, and I would have a wood duck body, and I would have black wings. I'd be like...
So you're some kind of Frankenstein duck.
Frankenduck.
You're a
And
gigantic...
I would want my...
Is that why you're the largest duck? Is because you're actually several ducks?
I would take several ducks.
He's
One
like
duck's
Rodan.
mass is not enough. It would take 3 ducks tied all together. I would be 3 ducks, but strapped together by the body.
So you're like a Pokemon.
She's Rodan duck.
I would be trio duck.
No, duck trio. How could you get that wrong?
I was too old for Pokemon. You can't be too old for Pokemon. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. That's fine. Minus 5 points for me. So the total tally right now is plus 5 points for Tom, minus 5 points for Casey, minus huge points for Logan. I don't even know what you're
Why
talking about.
Why did I get
Orangutans masturbating?
That gets me some plus points. That's hilarious.
No, that gets you in jail.
I'm sure you've watched at least one
I
video.
could get
of it
in
on
jail
YouTube.
for that. I guess I would already be in jail because I'd be an orangutan in a zoo. But you don't arrest
That's just
orangutans
another
for,
point,
peeing
a
on
pretty
things.
cage is still a cage, Corp. A pretty cage
Yeah.
is still a cage. Okay, moving on. Next topic. And very last on my wonderful, wonderful docket, thank God, is we're going to talk about the new weekly features. Featuring penthouses. I know everybody here is getting busy in those. I am.
Yeah.
I am with Tom.
right now.
And we're going to be talking about the wonderful addition of King of the Hill PvP map.
I have some things to say about that.
That's my favorite by far. Penthouse is nice, but PvP, King of the Hill, love it.
I would like it a whole lot less if it didn't have crippling lag because of the stupid filter effect that's on everything. And if people stopped being assholes and using Ego Storm and Annihilate on all of their builds. Just saying.
Sorry if player versus player is competition. Can you not handle competition?
I can't handle competition when I get an Ego Storm dropped on me into another Ego Storm into another Ego Storm. And none of them apply any hold stacks because they're just refreshing. They're not actually applying a new hold.
Isn't that a good thing then? Because then you're just like, screw it, I can't be held, and you kill people.
No, it's not applying the thing. Because it's just refreshing the one that was already on me, so it never falls off. That's how Ego Storm works.
Oh, well, looks like you suck. Opinions, Tom.
I actually haven't played the map yet, so I don't really have any opinions on the King of the Hill map. I haven't had a chance to play it.
It was way less laggy on the PTS, so I don't know if it's something that when it came over to live...
Maybe it's just the amount of people you playing
Yeah,
it?
it might be.
Alright. Since I totally been playing it non-stop, I'm going to detail like this. I think it's fantastic. Basically, on the one point of the longer you control the point, the weaker your team gets. So you can't have a super attack Doom team and hold the point. I mean, I was playing a game, and it went around like sort of like this. Our builds were getting murdered. We were just getting murdered on the point. I think the lowest point score on the other team was 26 with like 24 kills or whatever. And that was fine. We still won. Our highest point score was 3 because we were doing the smart thing. We were holding the point and all that. We're giving them the point for all of a couple seconds so we would not get weakened up, and then we'd jump on the point again. We'd get weak, so they'd kill a couple of us. We'd jump off the point so we wouldn't be weakened, There's just like so much strategy to it. I love it. It's great.
It's not so much that you're getting weakened, it's that they're getting stronger. Because they get the determination buff, which at 9 stacks of determination, a fully charged Dragon's Wrath will hit for about 400. On somebody that's got, like, Quarry. Like, it's ridiculous.
400 doesn't sound that impressive?
It's not impressive, is the point.
Oh, I thought it was a buff.
It's a buff for the enemy team.
Oh, okay.
They take less damage and deal more damage.
Okay. I thought, I get you.
Yeah, so the longer you hold it, the more ineffectual you'll be. And I thought that was a very spiffy addition. I love it. Plus 5 cryptic.
I just wish it wasn't so laggy.
That might just be
don't have any problem with lag.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues with lag. Sorry.
I know other people have been talking about it, though, so... Maybe it's just my game, because there was, like, at least 3 people that had sigils. So, that was
that's probably right there. Anyways, what about the map itself? Vibora Bay probably needed a map. I kind of preferred if it wasn't a graveyard.
I like the map design. It's really cool. The thing is, it's all wasted. Because all that matters is that central point. So all that external graphic design that they did is entirely pointless.
Well, you know what I would have liked to seen is like a rotating, like there's 4 points on the map. There's like southwest, southeast, northwest, northeast, and every once in a while, or there's something in the middle that a player can push and it'll switch the point. So it gives people who are set up not such a huge...
Yeah, that's how most King of the Hill games do it, is it's a rotating point. It's not a single point. The other thing that I saw that people wanted was they wanted additional objectives on the map. So maybe there's only the one capture point that actually gets you points, but you can go capture a point that spawns NPCs that'll run into the center and help you take it. Or a capture point that will blow open the roof so you can jump in through the top or something. Just additional things that would cause people to go off of the central point to try and get control of so the enemy team can't use them.
Yes. It really is an AO or area of effect skill king map. I mean,
Definitely.
Area of effect. Conflag users, just go do it. You'll just win. That's how it is. If you're not on the point, everybody else is, and you conflag, you just win. You win. You won the game.
Conflags, sigils, the thing is the perfect size for an Ego Storm. Annihilate is a good skill because you just tap it and you're throwing people off the point. You're just rotating and tossing people off. Anything that keeps people... Invocation of Storm Calling, Force Eruption, anything that can throw people off of that point.
Now, we have to address penthouses.
Oh, I have stood in so many hot tubs the past 2 days.
Your toes are all wrinkly.
They are.
I'm going to say one thing about penthouses that everybody should love is... It seems Club Caprice got a lot less crowded since they came out.
Absolutely.
All the upscale people moved to the penthouse.
I'm kind of fine with that. I don't need to see... well, okay, that's a lie. I kind of took pleasure in it. But now that they're gone, I have nothing to watch anymore. I'm kind of bored.
Yeah, we can't go trolling in Club and CC for some good bios. They're not there anymore.
That actually makes me sad. I'm being completely serious. I know goddamn Casey over there isn't. He's just being a jerk.
No, actually,
this is what we do.
We do when we're bored. We go read people's bios in Caprice.
Some of them are pretty good, actually.
No, some of them are.
You guys just seem condescending. I'm not saying that.
I mean, we are, but not for that reason.
Yeah. Those 2 statues in the bathroom are having sex. I'm just saying. They are. That's what it is.
So just like everybody else that's in the penthouse.
Oh.
Yeah. Speaking of, I have not seen a single mistel in Zone Chant since I've been in the penthouse.
I've been waiting for one as well.
Amazed. I've been waiting for
it. They're getting better about not doing that.
It takes a lot of training. I mean, it's only the couple people that slip up.
Not the pros.
Not the professionals. But overall, I think the penthouse is a very well-designed hideout.
That's great.
It uses most of the space very well. The only place where it doesn't is in the sort of blast bunker, where it's just empty.
It's definitely bigger than all the other ones, though. Especially if you include the roof. It's much bigger.
Yeah.
And it's got its own. It's basically its own mini zone. I mean, that's what I really like
about it. You could even exit out to Millennium City from it.
I love that. I think that's great.
The one problem that I have with Penthouse is it's risen my expectations so immensly that I think all the other zones for our hideouts suck. I kind of do.
I paid the same amount of money. And that's an issue for me.
I kind of agree with that. It doesn't fall.
If the other zones stayed at like 250, that'd be fine. Because I got this Penthouse for 1,000. If I got it for 1,000, I probably wouldn't mind. But I got it for 500, and just having one, so many damn options. It makes the other ones look so dinky.
The only one that I like about the same is the Sanctum, but I really like Alchemist Sanctum. So, whatever.
Yeah, but you're paying for the options. The Penthouse is larger. You have way more options. It's way more versatile. You have that sweet... You can flip your desk into a computer and pull out your super weapon stash.
That's definitely true. If you look at something like Mom's Basement, doesn't even compare.
Yeah, seriously.
No.
It has Maslow, though. It has Maslow, and that counts for a lot.
That is true.
I do hope that it is a sign of the quality of hideouts to come, though. I hope they stay of that quality.
Me too.
Absolutely.
It still raises the thing, though, because money is king in all societies.
They are releasing the hideout bundles, I think, at the end of the month. Maybe they changed that?
No, they took that off. They took that off, and instead of doing that, I think they had the sale.
Oh.
Yeah, because they took that off, they bumped the Golden Age down, and they bumped the Archetype down. Actually, I'm just noticing right now.
Oh,
they
really?
bumped the Archetype down to the last week. Because originally, the last week of September didn't have anything in it.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me that.
So, while the Golden Age set has been pushed back to next week, it used to be this week, they just released, as of like 6:40 on the 16th, they released a new art corner, which features the Golden Age stuff that will be coming out next week, and the Pulp stuff, which will probably be coming out next month, because it looks like they're already modeled. So, this art corner looks really good.
Oh my god, it looks awesome.
I know that there are quite a few heroes who are going to be using that sort of Captain America shield bracer.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, but actually, the star stuff... actually, I think the star on the chest might be an emblem.
I think it is, because it looks like it's raised up.
It's a raised up.
Okay, so if all those... If that's the case, I love that chest piece. It's like a military thing. That looks awesome. Love it.
I'm going to make a starfish man, and those are just starfishes attached to his body.
Oh my god, I love that.
No, because you have like the one on his face, too. That's perfect.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one that likes the boob shirt that the chicks are wearing.
Oh, of course, boob shirt. I mean, you can't go wrong with boob shirt.
That's good. It does look good.
And I like that they have the sort of bracer things on the armor. It's like a little shield. That's kind of cool.
Very cool.
I'm hoping there's a lot more options than what's shown. Usually there is. So
for the other one, for the one where it's the lightning guy and then there's the other chick, I think that's going to be, it has a lightning bolt on her shield, but it looks like that could be an interchangeable object.
It doesn't look raised.
Yeah, it looks like it could be like an emblem slot.
I think that could be emblems. That'd be pretty cool. Although if you put a star on that, I mean, whoa.
I like the Hooded Justice-esque mask as well. I think that's very cool. I'm going to
use the hell out of that hood.
Me too.
Catwoman thing looks kind of cool. It looks like multiple pieces, actually, which...
I'm hoping that the jacket that she's wearing isn't tied into that chest piece, even though it probably is.
I don't know. It doesn't... Oh, no, it probably is, actually. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But then again, with the Harajuku set, they had those alternate versions.
That's true. It might not
I
be.
hope for that, because I could see a lot of people using it just the...
Just the jacket.
Well, I wouldn't say just the... Well, I was going to actually go with just the other part. But yeah, just the jacket, too. But if it's all one piece, yeah, that definitely limits it.
It might not be, though. So we'll see.
Just hoping.
Yeah, here's hoping. And there's yet another style of thigh-high boots.
Oh yeah, those look pretty cool.
Oh.
Pulp, come on.
Pulp stuff.
Ah,
A lot of aviator stuff.
I'm loving it.
The pants on the guys that sort of flare out.
I really
Yeah.
like it. That's just so good.
I like
Seems like they
the shoulder details for the flight jacket.
Yeah,
I would like those shoulder details on tights. Those
That would be
look
great.
really cool on tights. Yeah.
Yes.
And the new gun models, a little crazy-ass, like, gas gun or something.
Is that guy's mask new? It looks like a new...
No.
Well,
No, it's
We have
It's
that.
combining...
no.
pieces.
The mouth and the eyepiece I recognize, but the...
The thing underneath it?
That might be a new mask. I can't really tell.
No, it isn't. It's one of the Golden Age type things.
Okay, fair enough. Luger,
Actually, the side things on the ears, like there's those ear caps, but this doesn't seem to be shaped quite like that. This seems to go in a little bit.
Is he wearing a new jacket by the looks of it as well?
Yes, it looks very similar
Military.
to
Looks-
what we already have, but
It looks-
it's not quite what we have.
It looks more military though, which I like.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, although
I
it seems to go down like into the
Past
pants,
the belt.
so I'm a little confused about that.
mhm.
But overall, I think this next week is going to be very exciting.
Considering we literally just saw this, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
It's great.
And if we want to talk about the previous art corner, the Wizard art corner, that was a couple weeks ago, I think. But that also looks very cool, talking about emanation points on staves and wands and rings, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to. Talking about the sort of Zatanna-looking piece. The art corners are always great.
I love them.
Oh yeah,
Brad Stoken is a fantastic concept artist.
absolutely. Oh, and probably my favorite. You guys have definitely already talked about this because I was only invited now. Hurt feelings. No, was the Avian Warrior.
Avian Warrior, we actually have not talked about any art corners
Haven't.
before this.
No, we did.
Okay.
We did talk about the even. Remember, because
Okay.
we did.
Oh, we barely talked about it, yeah.
I don't know. Even if I don't see myself using the bird heads a lot, but I do see
armor.
myself using everything else. I hope we don't get the chick bird armor though, which was like, hey,
Oops.
there's a bird on every
Oops.
single thing on this. Just so you know, it's like, hey, bird shoulder pads, bird bracers, bird
It looks like
thigh
two
guards.
separate sets of armor.
for her, for the chicks.
No. I mean, I think it's literally that would be one set of
One
armor.
style of armor, and then
Yeah.
there's another style.
Oh
I
yeah,
hope
yeah.
so.
Well, that's how they always do it.
That's all. That's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping for.
Yeah, they're probably going to do the third one for sure. I mean, the first one seemed to be everyone's favorite, but the third one was basically, Dr. Kaw's stuff with maybe one or two slight alterations. And, in the MMO business, recycling when you can is like the first thing you go to.
Yeah.
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 So there's that.
Golden Age. That looks good. Very excited.
You shouldn't let your voice get like that when you say you're very excited.
No, that was appropriate.
Very
I think-
excited!
So that's our fourth installment of CORPcast over. There are no events scheduled on the Corp website. Why? Why isn't there any events? Get on that, Corp. Come on, we expect better of you. If there was, I would be telling you about how wicked and awesome they would be. But since there is none, I will just tell you how wicked and awesome we are. We
Very.
at CORPcast are going to be hosting a lorecast where we're going to be talking about the actual lore of Champions Online
Yep.
and what it means to you.
It means everything to me. If you were talking to me, which you weren't.
So, from me, Tom, and Casey, who could probably say their own goodbyes, but I don't trust them, this is CORPcast, signing off.
Yeah, I'll just go fuck myself.